All right, Nick, let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. This whole offseason, we've been waiting for Joe Burrow to take the field, coming back from injury. We want to see what he's looking like. But I think there's an interesting story floating around there that's not focused on Joe Burrow and what he's doing, but rather who he is doing it with. And that's young rookie wide receiver Jermaine Burton, already looking like there's some chemistry building between the two. Let's get into the article and we can talk more about it on the other side. This is from over on SB Nation. It says the Bengals are now going through off-season workouts, which means most of the team is now in Cincinnati and working on Paycor Stadium practice fields for the first time since last season ended. That includes quarterback Joe Burrow, who is now able to practice after recovering from wrist surgery. Also in attendance is third-round rookie Jermaine Burton, who just took part in the NFLPA rookie premiere before flying back to Cincinnati to work with his new quarterback. Below, you can see Burrow coaching up Burton during Monday's practice. There's a nice video of there on the article, so go over on the SB Nation to check that out if you would like. It says, with Tyler Boyd departing and T. Higgins likely being elsewhere this time next year, Burton can become a major factor in the Bengals offense very soon. So it's great to see him and QB1 already working together. Nick, I don't know what more you could ask for. You love to see this. You love to see Burrow going out there, doing what you pay him to do, be that natural born leader, coach up his guys. But it seems like Burton is already working his way into the fold. Love to see it. I'm curious what your thoughts on all of this are. But Bengals fans, in the comment section below, we've talked about the moving around of receivers. We talked about the potential of what could or couldn't be there next year. We know as things sit right now, it's going to be Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and someone else this year. But next year, what do you think the Bengals wide receiver will look like if you can only pick the players on this roster? Let us know who you think the starting three receivers will be for the Bengals next season are in the comment section below. But Nick, what do you think about this Jermaine Burton news?
So there's a couple things to unpack here. I think first and foremost, when you look at the fact that Burrow is spending a lot of time with Burton, I think it speaks to how far along Burton has gone. And I think that's a testament to Burton and how he's continued to handle himself after being drafted, knowing the offense, understanding some of these concepts. Because the reality is, I know a lot of quarterbacks and a lot of veterans, they like to say they spend time with the rookies, but they really don't spend a lot of time with them until the rookies have the basics under control, right? Because otherwise, it's not worth your time. If you're Joe Burrow and you've got a receiver who's just trying to learn the basics of the offense, you're not going to spend much time with him, coaching him up, working on timing, because he's not there yet. He's not ready for it yet. The fact that Burton is ready for Burrow specific coaching and that chemistry is a great sign because they obviously, the Bengals, want Burton to be the replacement to Tyler Boyd this year. And it's not just Burrow potentially thinking that. There's an projections analyst over at ESPN, Mike Clay. He said this is quoting the article here. He says Clay expects Burton to see a healthy dose of targets, estimating him at 72. Furthering his projection, Burton has been estimated to rack up 562 yards and four touchdowns on 42 catches in 2024. So again, you're looking at a guy like, again, this is the analytics, this is the projection of what Burton's supposed to do right out the gate. We see Joe Burrow already spending a lot of time with him. We're seeing now two different entities. We're seeing the Bengals players themselves, Burrow. We're seeing the analytics say, hey, listen, Burton's the guy who's going to have an impact this year, which is important for Cincinnati, obviously. But when you talk about long term, I think it matters as well, because I think we can all kind of see the writing on the wall here that Higgins is not going to be a huge deal. Jamar Chase will get a good deal. Higgins will not, the way it's looking right now, unless Higgins takes a really team-friendly deal after this season. I think the reality is the Bengals will let him walk and let a guy like Burton become wide receiver too. And that's really important because if you look at the salary cap in 2025, I know we're going to the future here, the Bengals are projected to have more cap space than virtually all of their AFC rivals. They're going to have more cap space than the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, the Texans, the Dolphins, the Cleveland Browns. You can even go like pseudo contenders like the Jaguars, right? The Bengals have more cap space than virtually any of the quality football teams in the AFC next year. If they lock up Higgins and have to spend a lot of money on Higgins, that advantage goes completely away, and the Bengals are back down to par with everybody else. But if Burton can build off of this momentum, which it looks like he's got right now, and become a wide receiver 3 this year into a wide receiver 2 next year, not only will the Bengals be young at wide receiver, they'll also have more cap space than virtually every single contender even with Joe Burrow on his mega deal, that's a perfect scenario for the Cincinnati Bengals. And I know it's early, a lot of things can happen, but Burton's development up to this point is a great sign for Cincinnati, not just for 2024, but in the future as well.
Yeah, like, and this guy, it just the early development, the early signs that he's already showing, like you said, the ability to work with Joe Burrow and be at the stage where he's using that coaching. I think he is going to be a great fit for this offense going forward. And I think the Bengals have now positioned themselves in a really good place with the addition of a guy like Burton, because there's also some more fringe younger guys on this roster that have the potential to come up. I'm going to assume here that in the coming years, Burton moves up to that number 2 slot pretty healthily. Then you've got the younger guys. Most notably, you look at some guys like Andre Yosivas, who had pretty good year. Irwin could be a guy that's there potentially as a contender for that third spot. I think the Bengals are really doing a great job of finding young guys and getting them into their offense. And really, I think they've done a lot of smart things as far as potentially not paying T. Higgins a mega salary. I think, you're going to have to pay Jamar Chase, but outside of that, getting young talent and injecting into this offense, really smart move. We've been talking about that a lot in the last couple of weeks because of how the wide receiver market has exploded. And it's really, really compelling to me to see guys like Burton already look so good so early to kind of just complement that argument that, hey, young guys are coming into the league more developed than ever, and I think you can get a lot of young talent out of the draft. And I think the Bengals really they're catching on to this trend and really capitalizing on it.